when he's there, right? He's making so many positive plays, the good comms and everything else in between really boding well for Oxygen on top of everything else that he's accomplishing inside of the map. So now we'll get into things here as we've delayed long enough, and I'm sure you guys are ready to get into this as well. It's going to be Clubhouse here to wrap up things on A-Stream today. Nook and Thatcher going to be banned out first, and this is as straightforward an affair as you can get when it comes to bans in Rainbow Six.
First defender ban coming up now, and it's going to be the choice from BDS. Cade is eliminated here, as we still tend to see quite a bit of play from both him and Bandit to try and reinforce both those hatches as well as the primary walls in order to access the interior of the CCTV and cash room as well as the gym one as well. Valkyrie is going to be the final ban. Valkyrie still has plenty of useful positions to throw down those cameras and just universally a very flexible operator, so I'm going to be knocking her out. Plenty of other choices that could have been presented, but once again, that's going to leave both Azami as well as Solus in play as a result of that choice.
Pretty interesting that we actually ended up seeing Solus make her way through. Valkyrie, obviously a very potent op, especially when it comes to the info game on site, and this map considers that quite heavily. So probably a pretty good ban, but that also means that Foxe and whoever for BDS is probably going to be on Solus the entire time trying to deal with this drone game. And look, there you go. Already, Fox has a drone because he knew that it was going to go through that drone hole. This operator is just absolutely crazy.
So we'll probably be able to snipe out at least a few more here as he goes around to rotate through and reinforce a few of these hatches.
I'm not wrong. This is 2 up in the top left there, right? They've lost 3 drones already? I'm interested to see.
4 now.
BDS? Hello? Okay, let's get to the main phase before we start getting grief about this. There's no way, right?
Yeah.
Those 4 drones.
Because the observer just panned.
Okay, there we go. Thank God. Okay, I was gonna say there's no way that BDS.
I think that part of the UI just bugs a bit.
All right, cool. That's fine. As long as BDS isn't just throwing their drones to the wolves, that's all I care about. I was like, guys, come on here, okay? We still have a chance to win this. You got all the way to map 3.
So it is just going to be 2 of those drones that end up getting knocked out inside of the prep phase. Here is at least one we saw get found by Fox. Another one just got probably a little unlucky with his pathing and walked into somebody from the OXG roster. But the spawns are in. The basement set is deployed here. BDS wasting no time trying to get themselves access to the inside CCTV and cashier as well. We do have Sweater trying to resist that push, but with virtually 0 utility supporting this position, he has to very quickly give it back up. And no support on the blue hold here either, despite the fact that we had an Azami barricade pre-positioned here. Just a player from BDS hopping directly into it. Newers realizes this is too hot of a situation now, so he falls back through the supply hatch, deeper into blue. He's going to try to recenter himself with the rest of his team in the actual site. Vert also in billiards currently, so still a few tricks up the Oxygen sleeve as they try to get at least one more trade back onto BDS for the loss of Sweater.
Well, positive start for BDS. Top floor control. Attaching some of these rooms and more than likely going to play into this potentially vertically. Unless they're going to clear everything else on this mid floor with the drone game, which obviously also a very positive strategy. Looks like we could potentially have Solus on the other end there. Only one with that shape of a helmet. I know my silhouettes, baby. So it's going to be Fox 8 working his way back down the stairwell. It's going to be hatch work now here for BDS. Just seeing if Oxygen wanted to continue this war, and they do. Vertical should be dead to rights here, though. He is stuck. There's no way that he is getting out of this. He has to stick to this back hallway, but if it's played out correctly and timing's on his side, he could be able to actually do something for Oxygen that could win them the round here. But as soon as I say that, he's dead and gone, and Newers with quite a bit of damage after that frag grenade lands on him as well.
Foxy, Newers, and Dream, the final 3 remaining, and Newers basically dead already here with the low HP. He's working with a single bullet, takes him down for the count. Oh, so unfortunate timing for Dream as well. Walks right into a falling grenade. Thankfully, he's able to dash out of the way, but he's already mid-sprint. Avoids his own death, but still loses half of the HP here. As BDS is really just waiting down the timer, waiting to see if they can catch another mistake from Oxygen. They've already found some success in doing this by knocking out that half HP from Dream. Patience continues to give them more and more credit here as Breeding lines up another shot, finishes off Newers just on to Foxe and scratch that. Really just Foxe now, as Renshiro has taken down Dream.
Well, Dream the only one with a frag here, unless Fox is able to manage the man at the bottom of the stairwell, but not capable, as Kool-Aid quickly was spamming at him there through the wall. Able to find it, very well done there. It's Oxygen abusing everything, or rather BDS abusing everything to the fullest up against Oxygen. Not really too much to find. I mean, the control immediately going over to BDS. They at least got some drones initially, but the way that BDS worked the map from the top floor made it nigh impossible for Oxygen to get all that much. You know, also Vertical trying to take the fight through the hatch there wasn't exactly the greatest of things. Fighting whenever you're looking up at somebody is always difficult because their hitbox is pretty tiny, right? You just got to play around and try and tap him in the head with that slight little head peek that he's got going on there, but just could not find it. And that was really all she wrote for Oxygen on that mid floor. Team BDS past that were able to fully abuse Armory and take it into their full advantage, getting that plant down and making the round impossible for Oxygen from there on out.
BDS will not surprise too much with regards to what they are going to bring to the table here. Their attacking side. Wait and see if any more bigger changes comes in, but now this will be locked. Just Renshiro going over to the line is all we have to write home about now. Indeed, we're still going to be sticking with a very similar defensive lineup too, as you would expect with us sticking with the same site here. The Solus, as well as the Azami still in play. And still a bit of an extended game, as you might expect with these two operators in check too for Oxygen here. Unfortunately, that extension very much led to their downfall, in my opinion, at the beginning of the first round there, and their inability to kind of keep themselves obscured, or at a minimum, just waste out the time instead of giving up their own lives in those earlier fights. So we'll see if they're going to be better suited for that this time around here. As we see Shyko, once again, no respect to the blue hop-in, just goes right for it. Has a little bit of a barricade to sort of help him out here as well, but it's a double-edged sword as it's helping Sweater just as much here. Impact goes in. Destroys the utility info for him, and Newers as well, I think from the bottom of blue, snipes out Shyko. Nicely played there to bring some heat off of his teammate. Sweater as well, free to push back into that area of the map and reassert the control as well.
Yeah, very well done from those two. The team play working out extremely well in that regard. Alem's on the tailcoats of a player working their way down the main stairs. He has to cross now for Moto, but is there anything else to try and find some info on their position? Dream's going to get tagged up as a couple of bullets tag him in the chest. Nobody dead just yet, though, on Oxygen. Still a lot to do, though, for BDS. Need to get these hatches open and the soft destruction going. Alems is going to go down, though, leaving, well, not just a singular hard breach. We still have Lickyfac here as well with the secondary hard breach in his pocket, so still can abuse that, but definitely feeling the burn when it comes to the man count.
Lickyfac begins to shift his way down to the bottom of main. Won't have any direct contention against him from this position, but still will have to try it and swing himself forward. Move up, look for the shot through blue, but instead the shot will come for the defenders instead. Brewers finds the lineup, is able to eliminate Lickyfac. Brede with one more trade back into this one, but it's too chaotic right now for these guys to control. They need to contain this, they need to knock down a few more of these pegs, and certainly have started the process of doing so with Brede finding a second kill, but it all goes quiet after this. Oxygen also realizes they may have bitten off a bit more than they can chew from this situation, so they peel back, play into the site yet again. They're going to be tucking their tail between their legs, relying on the player advantage they've already built up now.
Well, Renshiro, 0 EE, 1 Ds. Just the V308 to his name. Brede also obviously on a pretty big round so far. The only 2 kills that BDS have been able to muster have been from his banner. Now he'll be readjusting over towards main stairs. Might be trying to get the bar hatch open here, but no, it's going to just drop straight up and down. Already pre-opened there. Looks like this pre-use hatch not going to do too much. Just be able to trade things out, but it's mostly Renshiro getting the heavy lifting done. Going to be a 1 versus 2, both of them inside of Church, capable, but Foxay will knock him down a peg. And it'll be Oxygen with their very first round here on Clubhouse.
Oxygen back into the fold very, very quickly after a bit of a bump in the road there for round number 1, but they immediately recenter themselves. Correct the obvious mistakes that are made, specifically over there by the blue stairs pretty quickly here too, to make sure that the early round goes a heck of a lot better, and as a result of that one, the rest of the round seems to follow suit. And we see a quick lockdown from Oxygen over there into the basement hold. Bar stage is interestingly enough going to be the next one we see Oxygen go to. Obviously, we've seen this one played quite a bit in other regions outside of NA, but NA itself, still a bit of a rare pick that we tend to see this one. They've slowly been adapting themselves into it, so I'd expect a similar setup to what we have seen in those other regions here from Oxygen. But still, certainly not the site we've seen them specifically pick into a heck of a lot.
Well, Oxygen, how we're going to work this one out. Castle barricades abound with a decent amount of utility, but really no mitigation when it comes to a lot of these different areas. Gonna have the castle barricades here to be able to obviously assist. Also Solus along for the ride, but this time she'll be in the hands of Newer, some very capable hands. Dream will have some camera work going on with the Evil Eyes to keep some semblance of info game going for them. And then Vertical more than likely just to keep a few important walls barred for at least a little while longer. Looks like it's going to be on Jacuzzi and potentially some single panels across the top floor, making this clear not as straightforward for BDS as they don't have any EMPs.
Utility going to be taken down over there, supporting that bomb chassis position. The Roteros will do their work. Exactly why they are brought to the table in the first place, is you have no other way to access this room from the outside. We'll just chuck a drone into it and blow it up instead. Pretty much the quintessential reason why we continue to see this operator brought time after time again since his introduction. Some areas over by West Main already opened up, or rather the east balcony, I should say. Still use the last map. That's been opened up now. They'll be able to forge forward. BDS can begin clearing out some more of these extensions up to the second floor, but they are a huge proponent of Oxygen's defense, so it is not going to be easy in any sense of the word to take those down.
Breed A, thermite charge on the panel for construction, and it'll work out for him. Make a new line of sight in towards Master, make it difficult to play around the bed space. Be able to get a castle barricade for their troubles as well out of those Rotero drones. I think a couple of those still lying in Alems's pocket as well if he wants to continue to apply those towards the site as he sees fit. We're about halfway through here and BDS are building up to trying to execute into this top floor, looking for some eliminations to open up a spot to potentially put a case down. It's going to be the frag grenade here from Shyko. They've got the ping, nade out. He's going to have to run back through this. Honestly, not that much damage dealt to him, all things considered. Immediately hops over into red. There's going to be EFAC to try and take down both players, and he'll get it done. Almost a triple, but now it's going to be Shyko to try and bear down onto Newers, but won't be exactly the look they were looking for. Instead, it'll be the frag grenade onto Vertical inside of the bathroom, and he'll quickly get dispatched as it only goes down to Newers and Sweater.
Breed 8 with the lineup against Vertical, at least takes him down and eliminates more of that defensive prowess from Oxygen. Newers going to see if he can rotate back up, but very little intel being presented on the scope here from the Solus. He'll find one there. At least gets the intel into one of them. Knows that a drone is going to be lurking towards him here too. He'll be sussed out as a result of that though. The jig is up. He's got to make the play or back up from this position. So what's he going to do? Just maintain stairs pressure for the time being. While we wait out the rest of that timer. Flash will be dumped on top of him. Avoids most of the blinding effect, but does have to give up stairs control as a result of that one. So returns back down to the zone of play on the first floor here, where Sweater is also waiting for him. Sweater in the meanwhile has heard the appropriate drop from the other side of stage and snipes out Alems, who attempts to push forward from that one. 15 seconds left, and Renshiro has now found the cross to eliminate Sweater. Newers is the last saving grace here. He's got some hot pings, though, coming in to help him out. Shyko gets dropped. That's not the planter. Does find a second one, though, in the form of Renshiro getting eliminated. Breed with the plant going down. Like effect has the counter, but he's so low on HP. Thankfully, he buys enough time and sets up Breed for success in the final seconds of the round.
Very well done there from BDS. Constantly able to take it to Oxygen and hitting him where it hurts, the man count as well. I mean, you can do anything you want with time and utility, but when you are down that many people, you are definitely going to be feeling that pressure. And that's why we see Newer's positioning in the way that he did on Master Stairs. He has to try and recoup that somehow, but no, BDS really just not giving them any look that would give them any inkling, any chance back into this round. That's going to be it for round 3, going into the favor of BDS. The French rise again. They're looking to do so yet again here on round 4. This time, Oxygen not going to be defending Bar. This time, it'll be upstairs instead of Master and Whites.
And so as Oxygen falls behind once more, they will look for the rebound as Bar and Stage, the awkward site as far as North American teams are concerned, does not pay out into their favor. They'll go back to the more traditional ones as they go over here to Jim for the potential final site of their rotation. Still a good possibility we see them go over towards CCTV and Cache as well if they do need another site to lock into, but at the same time, Basement will be unlocked entering round 5, so good possibility we will just see them route back over to that. BDS, though, has spawned. Once again, has given us a very straightforward operator lineup for this attack, so let's see how they can try to make it work against the gym setup from OXG.
Pulling up the side is Bride. can have the case on him, and he has been the backbone of this team for such a very long time, hasn't he? Always the hard support player that they look to try and win out those clutch situations, get a plant down, do the heavy lifting jobs that are required in Siege, and he does such a bang-up job of it. Lem's also going to be onto the Mav here, torching up the single panel for construction. He'll make himself a nice little hole up top here. Might be something just for him to be able to play an angle in towards off this rappel, and that's looking like exactly what he wants to go for here. Get this little piece down here, but he's gonna have to worry about the spam coming through. And wow, I'm really surprised Vertical was not aware. Completely caught off guard by the fact that somebody was gonna break that up and immediately take that gunfight with him. So unfortunate circumstances befall Vertical, but that's gonna be a big boon for BDS.
Big miss leads to a big death at the end of the day here against OXG's favor. That should give up the majority of construction control as well, assuming that BDS do want to utilize that to push themselves into the site. An attempt has been made here to try and pop things open over towards Jacuzzi, and it should go off without a hitch as we do have the Mav holes lined up from the bottom there, which has popped away those batteries and removed the electrification on the wall there. As we take a look at some of the defensive setups, though, Sweater on that very same bandit has now been pushed back into the depths of the bathroom. A nade goes deep, or at least it attempts to, behind the Logi mirror window. But Foxy not tripped up by it. Was already stepped back pretty far, and I think the nade bounced at the last second off the corner there, so it does not end up impacting him in the way our attackers would have liked for it to.
Zofia for EFAC, concussions out, entire utility kit dumped, and a dead man now on the ground, all in a moment's notice, all because of Newers. What a rotation from him. Now Shyko forced to deal with this fate. So there's going to be a mirror window directly to his right. Some utility in, a frag grenade out, no frags here, and almost a dead Shyko if that would have went the wrong way. Oxygen doing such a solid job of standing on this strategy tall. 10 toes down up against BDS right now. They are swinging, and these punches are connecting. Shyko to fall. It's Renshiro on the master balcony, and they know exactly where he is now. Might quickly be dispatched. I don't know exactly where it's going to come in from, but it will happen momentarily. Only 17 seconds remaining as he hops in to CCTV. He'll work his way through cache to the singular door, be seen on the mirror, more than likely falter here. But no, it'll be Foxy actually going down. Renshiro actually might stay alive just for the stat pad. We're about to find out. Sweater, though, has a different sense in mind there. He's going to thread the needle. He'll take out the lone soldier for BDS, and Oxygen will get their round.
So Oxygen fight back yet again, maintain positioning here in order to put themselves on that better foot forward and tie us back up once again. It's been a very similar chain of events here throughout all three of our maps, where it's one team goes on a bit of a tear, the other team then responds to it. And in this map specifically, it's just been a seesaw, back and forth and back again now. So far into Oxygen's favor as they take a second round just then and there to tie it back up one more time against BDS and send us into those final 2 rounds with the dead heat score. Oxygen going now for their 3rd attempt on the basement here. First one a failure, second one a success. Trying to see if number 3 will yield the same results as the most recent attempt. For BDS, we are going to see a Jackal get swapped in here for Lycovac as well. Hopefully be able to track down the roaming members on the 1st and 2nd floor a little bit more efficiently, as that did waste out their time a little bit more. More importantly, Oxygen was able to actually escape on the 2nd attempt here and then use those player positions to still win things out deeper into the basement itself when push came to shove.
How crazy is it that Oxygen is neck and neck right now with BDS, the people that just won the Youngshipping Major just a couple of months ago, you know, and not only that, but they beat Team Liquid of all squads, which only really had one downfall, which happened to be Skyscraper. Every other thing that they did was so hotly contested, and they seemed almost unstoppable. It seemed like the tournament for them, but BDS had it at that moment. They're gonna have the opening kill here as well, as they're looking to take the lead all over again.
In fact, with more spam going into the main stairs window there. Takes that out after a successful opening pick against Newers. All that roaming pressure now going to fall over towards players like Sweater. And on top of that as well, Foxy still on the Solus with quite a bit of capability to potentially catch out some of the early action from BDS, but it's quite contained as far as they're concerned at the moment here. Oxygen as well, already looking at options to rotate their players back down, but Vert's going to realize that that won't be such an easy task here, as he's now lost the supporting window behind that main staircase, as well as had an avenue opened up against his potential route over to the next hatch. He'll still make it. And thankfully, there's a few zombie barricades blocking the way out from construction too. So I believe Vert is still relatively safe when everything is said and done. May not be able to say that any longer though. Shyko gets the successful pick on his sweater. That was the support from Cash side that he had for himself there. So now Vertical is truly out on an island, but at the same time, they're down 3v5. There's a very good chance, even if he decides to take the safe option and rotate back, that he still ends up dying here. He's going to end up going for that when everything is said and done. And here we go. That's what I was worried about. That's why he was probably sticking around there for so long, hoping that he might have been able to just get a one-for-one battle and go to the death with that one, taking one member of BDS with him. But he can't even make that happen as he dies with no trades to be seen or even attempted, unfortunately.
Rotation there from Fox, but bewilderment from EFAC. So quickly take him down. Dream, bottom of the stairwell, quickly hurling himself towards it as well, but doesn't seem like it's going to last all that much longer. A lot of damage from Shyko, and he'll finally deliver the death blow. The bells toll, and it's a flawless round for BDS as they take the lead again.
Tough one for the members of OXG. Every single step they tried to take just seemed like the wrong one for them there. So their strategy falls flat on its face. The extension once again leads them into their own death. And with that, BDS will take the lead for at least one more round here. Time to see if the Seesaw will continue to move, though, as once more Oxygen go right back into the basement. 4 out of 6 of the rounds in this half by Oxygen will have been played on the same site here. So let's see if they can at least get that 50% win ratio by closing out on another round 3 for themselves here to tie us up once again at 3-all.
Basement setup here for Oxygen. Gonna have the mirrors as well as the bandit batteries here to try and rebuff those and make sure they're not as easily openable. Obviously won't have access to the electro claws of Kaid, so a lot of the hatch play will be less nuanced here. We have some impacts that they could potentially use, but with the way Habana works nowadays, it's really not the most beneficial thing to try and constantly work out, you know, 2 little X-Kairos every single time they land on top of a hatch. Just kind of a waste of an impact. So might as well just try and play for it open instead. So we'll see what Oxygen wants to do with this. Everything applied and set and ready. Now BDS out the gates to see what they can do here for their last offensive round.
As we continue to see the rest of the players from BDS take their opening positions across the map. We're going to be on board with Shyko at least initially here. Lems, that's our star player. So we go to him and take a look at his clearance of the club. He'll rotate himself back over here towards main stairs as well, where the first footprint will present itself. Unfortunately, it's someone way down the depths of the basement, so that info is pretty much useless at this stage of the round here, except for knowing now that the alibi has already made their descent back downstairs. Would have loved to grab Fox here as he's playing a little bit closer to the actual fight on the staircase, but even he now will back up. It's a full bunker for OXG, it looks like at this point, just having those few players peek out on the staircase to see if they could get lucky, but did not want to full commit there by any means.
BDS with control of the mid floor. Oxygen really nothing going for them when it comes to that. I'd rather play it downstairs, play it out off of the utility. See if they can try and get ahead of BDS in that regard when it comes down to these dying moments. Although with no delay in place, this could be a fairly quick round for BDS. Seeing them try and send themselves down these hatches, some smokes out, X-Kairos as well to break up the mirror window there. Frag grenade out from Shyko, won't deal any damage. They're still trying to hold things onto the door. Nobody at AK now for him. Has to get this Legion Mine out of his foot, but as he does so, Newers will capitalize. Low HP, but that's a heck of a lot different than dead.
Frontier and the rest of BDS primed for the drop now, but there's still resisting forces from Oxygen waiting on the other end of the equation here. They're going to have to watch out for the electrified walls as well, not helping the equation as BDS has lost their first player here on the descent. They're really going to struggle to try and even set one foot into the basement as a result of the current setup from OXG. It's now a question of if BDS has the appropriate amount of utility to flush that back, and the leading answer right now would look towards a no, but we'll have to wait and see as Lems finally changes up the fate for his team, but can only be a one-and-done operator, it seems. Picks up the first one. Now Buride takes up the mantle as he moves forward, knocking down Sweater. Newers to keep things under the control of Oxygen, though, by trading out another push from Blue.
Plant to go down, cover from Renshiro. It's going to be on main. Baiting the fight. Foxay, what a decision to be made there. And so quickly dispatch the player at the bottom of the main stairs, but now they have to try and get something done. Foxay, Nitro Cell out, and it actually might get him. It will. He couldn't get back through the rotation. All he needed to do was man the angle properly as Fox peaked with an entire Nitro Cell in hand, but just wasn't ready for the fight. And we have a 3-3 half here on Clubhouse.
So another 3-3 scoreline is deployed. The same exact thing happened back on map number 2, and I want to say we had something fairly similar go on back in map number 1.
It was 4-2. They were really
was it 4-2? Okay, yeah. I was about to say, I thought we had a 3-3 at first, but yeah, you're right. It was the 4-2. That a little bit of an extra extension happened there, and where we have been neck and neck throughout the course of this entire series. Neither team can seem to escape by more than a round or two. As we have once again deadlocked ourselves at the switch. Time to see what OXG can bring us on the attacking side and how BDS's basement defense looks. We saw 4 times from OXG. I'm sure we're going to see it at least a bit from BDS, but now time to see if they can lock things down a little bit more quickly this time around.
You feeling another overtime here?
I'd say it's likely.
I'm feeling it as well.
We need to see a round or two of this half first.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think that would give us a little bit of a better context as to if we are going to be headed that way. But, you know, if we had to call it right now, I definitely say that it feels like we're barreling towards it pretty quickly. Like you said, either one of these teams cannot allow the other to be ahead by 2 rounds. It's just not humanly possible.
Yep, very much the case. Let's see if that's going to remain the situation as we now commit ourselves to the depths of round 7. Shyko actually electrifying the walls over here by the main balcony to try and prevent an early clear coming in from Oxygen and keep potentially a Lems as well as the construction players positioned alive for just that little bit of an extra amount of time. Unfortunately, it's going to be a moot point when you consider that, well, they just have the Maverick to try and work their way directly past it. Should be able to pull this off in about another 10 to 20 seconds or so. They will have access to the room anyway and can begin splitting up the defensive setup here from BDS.
Nice little lesson on Mav tricking there from Foxay for all of you at home. Always a line at top first, followed up by a quick one at the bottom. Just make sure you get your points to the right and left. Otherwise, you're probably going to end up in between a rock and a hard place where you're trying to fight back across the angle that you already made and fix it up. And that's potentially the worst scenario to be in with a Maverick. It's usually how you end up dying. But Foxay, a professional when it comes to these things, very quick to get rid of those walls.
Bringing in with a lot of patience built up here, waiting for that initial swing to come in from Oxygen over on the main balcony hole, but it's going to work out at the end of the day. As he strikes true, takes down the push from Sweater, and eliminates the Zofia from contention here on round number 7. Shyko feels the job has been done well enough, so falls back into Oil Pit and retreats to the site. We'll leave the players inside of CCTV and Cash, and eventually Construction are going to be pulling off the same thing here now. That one kill is all they feel that was necessary from these positions. And away from that, it's about rotating back down safely now.
Well, Oxygen, they've lost Sweater. Doesn't mean that they can't still claim the round. BDS, though, with the positioning that they've been able to adapt, especially for EFAC, this position going to be such a nuisance. Shyko also making the situation so much worse after taking down Newers, who has by far and away been the top contender here for Oxygen. Now across the board, I would say, given the circumstances of all of the maps, Foxay kind of slowing down just a bit, still staying in contention at 5 and 4, but Newers really picking up the pace when it comes to these kills.
A bomb has been located.
Montreal will be the first to start his descent for Oxygen and reach the bottom of the main stairs position. I like the fact, though, already working on a flank from, it looked like Kitchen, if I read the position correctly there. Vert, though, gets an opening entry. Foxay as well storms forward. Where's this play from Lycofak? He needs to move more quickly. As he's in a second or two, he's going to be the only one left alive if he's not careful. There we go. Drops the case potentially right at the right time here, leaving only Foxay in the equation here now for a 1v2. He won't be able to adjust quickly enough to fend off the flank, and Lycofak arriving just when he was needed there, just barely is able to save the situation for BDS.
Yeah, the bat signal up and he arrives. Foxay just making that rotation out of Moto as well, so couldn't be more perfectly timed. This BDS will claim the lead yet again here. Oxygen seemingly always on the tailcoats when it comes to Clubhouse, whether it be through strategy or through the scoreboard. BDS just a little bit better than them at the current moment.
Attackers need to locate.
So in round 8 we go, BDS in charge, but like you said, getting that +2 advantage has been nigh impossible for both of these teams, so This is where the rubber hits the road, and we get to really see if BDS is putting up that stronger performance when it comes to this map specifically. Overall, this will show us more sight depth too, if BDS is able to successfully lock this one down in a row without needing the repeat. If we see that follow through go all the way over to Cash, it's going to be the beginning of the death bells for Oxygen as far as this series is concerned here. But let's see how Oxygen will try to handle that open layout formula by being able to access Jacuzzi, potentially having to pinch it from this side as well. We're seeing the reinforcements go down by the Jaeger. A few changes need to be made to Oxygen's overall lineup too, most notably Foxy going over to the Ying as they want to try and dump that in on Execute to hopefully overwhelm any Insight setup.
BDS looking to make their presence known early in the round, but not going to get the spawn kill that they were looking for. Newers will begin his practices over on the strip club side as he's entering with Yana. Rest of the gang, though, going to be looking for that hard execute, try and get these walls open with the secondary hard breach of Foxy, as well as the regular hard breach of Dream. We'll see what they want to try and apply that torch to momentarily. Looks like we'll just initially be breaking things open on CCTV here for Foxy. He's going to get the single panel, or he's going to go get Jacuzzi? Let's find out here. Got the hatch open here for Logi. Going to get that going on first here. We still haven't seen Dream use any of the fuel inside of his torch either here. So might be a little slow to their initial punch.
Set a bit of a slow windup here for the Oxygen roster. So we're going to see Dream quickly make work of the Jacuzzi wall here. Maverick, just like we saw from Foxy in the last round, will pop it open over the next 5 to 10 seconds here. The rest of the team, actually quite a few of them waiting at the bottom of main stairs for a potential swing up through. That'll be quite dangerous if they attempt to commit fully into that one. It's because of the harshness of this angle, but as they move towards it, one of their players will be trapped out a bit. That'll lead to Vertical going into a down state, but Newer still finds the kill, and more importantly, we can bring Vertical back from the depths, so he's back into it once again. And Oxygen has successfully taken control of the top of those main stairs. Still need to go for a swing to get Logi. They're going to go for it, and oh no, the timing is missed by Bride. Newers is able to work himself into it. Shyko finally begins to spray back out this one, as does Like Effect. Keep in mind, Construction was also never stolen away. Oh, Foxy tries to go directly for the duel against Shyko, and they both take each other down as a result of a direct trade. 2v2 is now the state of this battle, and it's going to be changing again in a moment as Newers has also gone down. Dream looking to try and seal things off for his team, but never mind. The Pokeball eliminates his teammate instead. It also knocks out the full damage amount onto him once again, nearly taking him down outright with those impacts here as he's down to just a sliver of HP here now in the 1v2. Has to back up even further towards the main stairs. It's not looking good for him here.
And EFAC still has a Pokeball as well. Dream's going to adjust back over to the rotation. Nose one is in behind the mattress. A cross angle constantly going to be held by weights. Nobody wanting to move an inch. This round meaning so much to BDS. Every single time EFAC does any of this, he's going to be sending bullets, some shots out, and that's going to be the swing. Unlucky for Dream. He will get taken down there from BDS. So very well played from them, though. 2 big picks coming out of Oxygen and still able to make it work. Even without Shyko, huge trade coming in there for him as he traded himself out for Foxy, and then EFAC and the rest of the gang able to get things done when it mattered most.
A 5-3, 2-round lead now on the board for BDS. This is the only time this has happened so far inside of this map. Otherwise, we have traded literally every single round back and forth ever since round 1 going all the way up to round 6. That curse has just, or rather round 7. That curse has just now been broken, with BDS closing down on 2 sites in a row. They're going to look to make it 3 in a second. Like I said before, if that ends up coming to fruition, that is very, very bad news for Oxygen, especially when you consider, of course, the fact they just took this tactical timeout. They are trying to figure these issues out now before they become a much bigger issue, and more importantly, before they are forced into a corner and have to win 3 attacks in a row just to bring this to OT.
Well, speaking of unfortunate circumstances, if you guys got a little look at the scoreboard there, you'll definitely see that Oxygen is starting to look a little bit like BDS yesterday. From the midpoint down on the scoreboard, the highest amount of kills happens to be 3 for any of those players. It's all Foxy and Newers right now doing the heavy lifting. This scoreboard has got to do something, because that's the key differences in between these 2 squads. BDS, I mean, it's even across the entirety of this field. The lowest happens to be Alem at 5. The highest, I believe, is 8. Yeah, EFAC at 8. So not a big difference there. Whereas when you look over at Oxygen's camp, you definitely can't say the same.
No, you cannot. Oxygen, once again, starting to fall behind. A little bit on the individual perspective of things. And yours, of course, still lights out as far as his performance is concerned. As I've been mentioning as well, Foxy has been a consistent rock as always inside of this series. And aside from that, who is Oxygen looking to make up the big plays? Unfortunately, just haven't been able to rely on any of the other players aside from the two mentioned previously inside of this map so far. But for BDS, it's going much more smoothly in a much more team-oriented fashion, which is a fix. Some issues they were struggling with yesterday where it really seemed like only Shyko can make those effective plays. Fox8 ready to quickly burst in through the kitchen, but he's going to be held back, unfortunately, as there is a barricade here. Thankfully, on Ash can quickly deal with that, knock it out of the way. You have to be a little bit careful, though, in the event that there is a member of BDS trying to lurk around this area. They don't want to full commit to it so early.
Well, and funny enough, we are going to have a bar defense here for Team BDS. We saw one from Oxygen, where Oxygen was able to at least make somewhat of a stand on this site, but BDS were pretty quick at being able to take them down and claim the round. Now for BDS, the shoe's on the other foot as they'll be defending said site. Noor's working into a very similar situation to what we've been seeing from him whenever he does come in via the strip side. It's going to be the booze right now for him as he's standing inside of stalls, waiting to see if he can potentially get a BDS player on rotation. Oxygen going to start playing around with this Shyko to take down one. Some nice trades back and forth as Noors will be able to claim Renshiro. Fox8 is at least able to pick the case back up, but the big issue now is that they only have the smokes on vertical to try and make a similar play to what they just did.
Noors waiting patiently for an opportunity to try and jump up and shut down this defensive hold upstairs here, but he doesn't want to overplay his hand. That oftentimes has led Oxygen into bad scenarios, as we've seen prior. So he does not want to throw himself into the kettle on that one and potentially roll the dice for it this early on. Still over a minute to be played out. Oxygen kind of meandering around outside of the building here too, figuring out the best path to take on this one. Fox8 having to watch out for a potential garage swing in the event that he wants to full commit to the overwatch on this window. At the same time, Vert now moving into position to potentially start swinging himself towards the site. He's going to have to pop out one of those micro smokes to avoid the top-down angle from being visible. As you saw there, the smart glass is alive and well for the Lems. He can see right through that. And as well, like a fact, now able to just spot out vertical outright, taking him down and removing any additional bolts that would have been thrown out later on. Like a fact as well, good timing there to be able to catch Norris just as he rotates up, but hold on. Members of OXG refuse to go down as of yet here. Fox8 now down for the count though, and it leaves everything on to Sweater, but just Shyko and like a fact remain, so it's not an impossible task at all for Sweater, especially now with him getting the revive on Fox. However, the crunch, like a fact, decides not to full commit to it. Backs away from that one. A new life has been given over to the Oxygen roster. Can they keep it alive, though? The spray from Shyko not good enough. Both players, though, incredibly low. This has gotten even more difficult, and they've got to still run back outside to grab case control again. As we see Fox8 creeping back up, he's got an opportunity to shut this down single-handedly as well. Locks out one of the remaining two here. The denial on the plant is so close for him, but he's got to worry about the 1v1. Suddenly the tables have turned against Shyko. No! He's found the target too late, but still takes it down. And even better, Fox8 rotated back down the stairs to support his teammate. Now Shyko's got a window. He can swing back down. Does he read this own rotation from Fox8? Do they know he's going the full distance back downstairs? Shyko, in all honesty, he doesn't care. He's going to go immediately for the counter defuse. Hops off of it when he hears the stair activity. Might have been able to force the issue there, but now back on top of it again. 13 seconds to be able to complete this as once more Fox8 picks it and walks right into the angle for Shyko. He'll get it done instead. That's 6 rounds on the board for BDS.
Bomb diffuser disabled.
I am at a loss for words at what we have just witnessed right here. Shyko getting away with so much more than any human should be capable of. Oxygen not able to get it over on BDS. Such fantastic defense, especially of this top floor. Shyko constantly a thorn in their side, whether it be from the window angle that he was holding when they tried to entry there inside of that 2 versus 2, or the verticality coming through where he was able to find that big pick. It doesn't matter. It's all Shyko at the end of the day, all the time. 10 and 6 for him right now. Bubbling to the surface again is just how much talent this man has at his fingertips. Proving it, putting it on full display there for all of us at home, and really giving it to Oxygen here as he's going to extend that scoreline 6-3.
So Oxygen once again up against the wall here. and this time with a much more difficult task than they have faced in previous maps. 3 consecutive rounds in a row where they've been unable to claim a single one yet on this attacking side. A gargantuan task sits in front of them, and they've already used the tac pause, of course, so no capability to bring that back from the brink either. BDS have returned to the basement, and it's all going to fold onto this one play from OXG. Can they breach past it, or will BDS have the perfect half for themselves to seal the deal on this series at a 7-3 scoreline?
Well, it's going to be the full roam game here, the basement perspective. BDS looking to shut Oxygen out of Clubhouse. No overtime allowed. They need 3 rounds in a row here, and a great start for Shyko. He's going to lay this to bed early. Who else better to kill, John, than Newers for your opening kill?
Very much the case. I mean, look at his scoreline as well and just how pervasive he's been inside of this game. Foxe as well. It's going to be the next step to bat to try and make up the difference here with regards to individual prowess that could be brought out to save the day. But as you said, Newers has definitely been the player to look to and was the same thing yesterday as well. And he's now unavailable to help out in any capacity for the rest of this round.
Now Oxygen worse for wear because of it. They have to try and solve this equation down a man. The worst potential thing that you can do, especially with a round that carries this much weight. It's not the way that you want to start things off. UFAC will be discovered for just a moment there, as didn't have that logic bomb going off in his pocket. But really nothing else going on across the board for Oxygen or BDS. Both of these teams just awaiting the other one's next move. Oxygen now trying to get themselves in place, as this is starting to look like a dirt take here. Let's see who's got the case. It's going to be Dream. So could potentially go for a kitchen play here. Kind of a kitchen drop moment there is, oh, there we go. Finally able to find Renshiro. I'm really surprised Renshiro didn't move at all with all the bullets tinging the metal bar above him. But, I mean, some things happen sometimes. You know, there's a lot of noises going on, especially when it comes to land. A lot of communication, just an unfortunate circumstance befalling our BDS member.
Foxe sitting at the precipice of the site. That drone's still roaming around, causing problems for BDS as well. So a lot of info suddenly going over to Foxe. Hard pings onto at least 2 members of the squad as well here. Sweater can't even fire back against some of it due to the Kunai barricade sitting in his way, so we'll have to try and play around that. Phone call will be moving in the meanwhile, and more importantly, Oxygen in position to go for a plant. Dream able to slap it down onto the ground. No interruption upon him. He completes the set, but Shyko still takes down 1 member of the team in the process. More importantly, though, they've gotten the task achieved, and now it's all into BDS to pull off the retake. Dream continuing to hold the line here as well. Picks up 1 more. Vertical, adding another to the stack. Suddenly they're in control, but it's even back out. Like effect, looking to save the day here as everything falls to Foxe yet again. And he's upstairs. He's got the top-down angle against this one. Lems and Like effect need to realize this and counter him back out. Counter defuse had already been started, but they've gotten off it once again. Waiting for the repeak to come back in. Here we go though with the peek. An instant headshot from Foxe, and he knows he's got it. So he's just going to wait this one out now. Lems on it. Jumps off it to try to take the duel, but Foxe is baiting this out perfectly. Lems knows he has to stick it, but still won't make a difference as Foxe has had him run out of time and shuts him down to keep OXG alive for at least 1 more round.
Gets him down to the timer. The reposition there from Foxe is what saves them. Otherwise, really starting to look like a BDS round. Once again, very similar circumstances to the post plant that we have in Bank that we always talk about how difficult that is for a retake. It's very similar circumstances. You have hatch play right over an area that you want to try and plant, and it's always going to be hard fought trying to combat those angles, especially when you don't have any explosives or anything to really try and deal with some of the soft breach that they could have tried to abuse around Foxe. But Oxygen will stave off the end of this best of 3 as of now. Still need 2 rounds on this offense in order to guarantee overtime.
Need still 2 rounds to go here, and BDS just going for the retry on the same exact site, keeping things pretty much exactly what we had seen previously. Renshiro is actually going to bring in the solo, so potentially expect a bit more of an active roam game this time from the BDS roster if they are going to be looking to use it to try and proactively hunt this down. Realistically, could still be using this as a bunker deployment, though, because I think the utility will still be quite useful in a tense situation like that, so
10 seconds to go.
we'll have to wait and see just how exactly BDS want to play this one out with the 2 rounds they have remaining to end this inside of regulation. Otherwise, another OT will be in the cards to settle this series and settle who's picking up the majority of points from this game.
Well, no quick trigger pull this time around. Waiting there for just a split second. Didn't know if we were going to have an interaction there on that blue window. Secret window sometimes. You might just have somebody flying in. Shyko could get in that gunfight right off rip, but no. Gonna be going back to basics here with Oxygen. I would not be surprised if EFAC was ready for Newers to start working his way in through Strip if they've been able to recognize that, but no, they don't even know that Newers has done this about 4 times on this offensive side now. He's just gonna walk in with a drone and shoot EFAC in the back of the head.
Oxygen with the advantage now. Going to take a few moments to reposition themselves, make sure the next move they make is the correct one as well. Yes, Lycofat goes down, but there's still a few issues that haven't been dealt with, specifically in the upstairs quadrant of the map here. Oxygen currently ignorant of that, but there may be some design behind it. I'm certain that they are aware of it at the minimum, but just maybe choosing to not directly counter it, as they have Overwatch on the angles otherwise. Newers will be able to find out a second target here now as well. Shyko falling down. Alems begins his descent from his upstairs hold though, and immediately strikes true, taking down Sweater. The Candelas go in, the plant will go down. Alems is found out on the moto drop. Renshiro and the final player from BDS fall quickly after that as well. So what is happening? BDS losing their mettle, losing their nerve it seems, as they suddenly just can't close out on a round, let alone a few kills here. And they're very much so going to take a tactical break on this one to try and figure out what exactly they need to do on what is going to be the final round of regulation.
Yeah, pretty interesting choice there from BDS to go for the full roam strat, because that's exactly why Oxygen are able to do what they did, which was completely circumnavigate their roaming strategy and get a plant down in the site whilst also holding on to the flank routes. And it worked out extremely well. I mean, Newers was even covering the Moto hatch from inside of Moto and was able to take down, excuse me, I do believe Alems. So fantastic stuff from them. It seems like, you know, with their back against the wall, really still willing to go that extra length, go the extra mile, and take these fights. No sense of slowing down for them, especially for Newer's sake.
Well, we're going to get ourselves back into it. The timeout is going to conclude here in just a moment, so that'll force us back into the game. Or we have to wait and see if BDS can solidify themselves. Do they go for the basement defense again? That's the big question here, and we get the immediate answer of no, they do not. They go back upstairs into gym, where we had seen them lock things down earlier on in the half.
Gym bedroom, and no frost mats here for BDS. We're going to have the Malusi here, though, and she will obviously give out some very solid intel as well as have the ability to slow down Oxygen on their entries. We'll see if Oxygen want to switch up any of their operators when it comes to this top floor. It looks like they will have the hard breach necessary in order to get these walls open, especially if they bring it on Foxe. It's going to make it a little bit easier than trying to operate around Dream's slow fuse timer.
There's going to be any crazy...
Or that works even better, huh? Bring in the thermite, bring in the heavy lifting up.
That'll certainly do the job as well. Still going to be able to knock those walls down sooner rather than later.
10 seconds to go.
With either choice, they will need to make sure they have the appropriate support behind it, however, in the form of those impact EMPs. As obviously Thatcher has been banned out here. So we'll see what exactly they've brought to the table, and indeed they have brought it, of course, on the Dokkaebi there, so it should have the capability to work their way through the bandit batteries, which have been placed over on Jacuzzi, and as well that main balcony too, I think.
All right, Oxygen. Are we going to overtime? It's time to find out. BDS's strategy fully set up and done. Now Oxygen built to break it down. It's going to start here with the CCTV wall, as it'll be a singular Selma and Impact out just to give them a little semblance of view of what's going on inside of that space, which honestly isn't all that much. BDS mostly focused over on the cache area of things when it comes to that portion of the map, not really trying to step up when it comes to CCTV. They're going to apply another Selma, so Fox now down to 1. Do obviously still have the hard breach here from Dream, so that's going to be used here for the Jacuzzi wall, and they'll have to be backed up with Sweater as well, who has those EMPs, the master key for the master explosive device to be played onto the Jacuzzi double panel.
Oh, we're going to see Oxygen throw out those EMPs in just a second. You can see Sweater attempting to get a drone to the inside, but obviously it's been blocked off by one of the barricades there, so can't make it happen. Selma going to be chucked down as an insurance policy too here. And immediately Newers also opening up the hatchwork, going back over into gym here, should it be needed for the initial clear that OXG is going to go for. As BDS, of course, will be looking to still maintain that gym presence. And Renshiro wrapping around that hatch. Will thankfully not be spotted out immediately, but Newers actually going up on Repel after he'd opened up that hatch, finds him instead, takes him down through that avenue, and once again strikes true for OXG to give them the opening kill lead.
What an angle. Now Oxygen, they have the lead-off kill again onto Renshiro. Exactly like the last round. Different circumstances, but same result. In fact, looking to see if he can potentially get something going here for himself over on the CCTV side, doing his best to be somewhat of a distraction, but nothing really deterring Oxygen from their main focus at the current moment. Just seeing if any other BDS members want to try and give them something for free. You can see a lot of the angle work happening now as these members wait the arrival of any BDS swings, but just nothing coming. Want to make sure that they try and keep this site locked down. Do not want to give over ease of access to Oxygen in these dying moments.
Dying moments indeed as we enter the final 30 seconds of regulation time. Oxygen not getting that close necessarily to the outright execute, but the player advantages that they've found seem to be setting them up time after time. Again, it's a slow process, but when it closes fast. Bride already the last player standing here for BDS. Overtime seems all but likely now as he tries to fend it off. Maybe not just yet. Foxe needs to plant now. How's he going to play this? Aggressive or for the plant? The shotgun pump comes in, but he's wasted too much time, and BDS sneaking off on the timer. What a play to finish it off for the French roster.
You pay that man his money. Bride, time and time again, so very impressive. Whenever his name is called up, John, he always makes sure that it goes their way. And this time it happens again. Oxygen gonna be head and hands here. You know how very close they were to just ending
they had it.
godly streak that BDS had on this map.
They played everything correctly. They necessarily didn't do anything wrong there. It just came down to Bride's clutch, and unfortunately, he had far too much firepower for this situation. He bests them out instead, and it's moments like that that make players great here as BDS is able